What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here. In this one, we go over Michigan's big recruiting weekend as they came away with two commitments, one from a top 100 quarterback, the other from a three-star edge who does have a little comparison to a former Michigan edge player. We go over both of them, including the top 100 quarterback Brady Smigiel already putting his recruiting cap on, recruiting others for Michigan, including a top 100 receiver. We also go over the 7 Michigan football players that got drafted and some undrafted free agents. And we also go over some more spring game takeaways after rewatching the spring game as it was televised over the weekend. It's all going to be in this video and more, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so Michigan came away with two big-time commitments over the weekend. One was from a three-star edge, which we'll get to, but the first one came from the 2026 four-star top 100 quarterback Brady Smigiel from Newbury Park High School in the state of California, ranked 80th nationally on 24/7 Sports composite rankings, ranked as the 7th best quarterback in the class. He chose Michigan over fellow finalist of South Carolina, and he's a 6'4", 205-pound quarterback, and it was huge for Michigan to finally get their quarterback in the 2026 class. It's only going to help recruiting moving forward here in the 26 class. But Smigiel recently did visit Michigan for the spring game. He told On3 that, the brand, largest living alumni association in the world, the mystique of Michigan, the education is what stands out. Joe Smigiel, his father, also speaking on Michigan, said that accountability, culture, and team is what makes Ann Arbor a special place. They also made it clear to him that Brady is a priority and the Wolverines get the job done. Now, Brady Smigiel was previously committed to Florida State. Michigan offered him last year. Michigan took a verbal pledge from Brady Hart, but then he reclassified and also flipped to Texas A&M after Michigan landed Bryce Underwood. Smigiel reopened his recruitment in January, and while Washington did emerge as the favorite for Smigiel, they took a different player at the position, and that really opened up the door for Michigan to win over this recruitment. And Smigiel threw for 3,521 yards, 49 touchdowns with just 3 interceptions as a junior last season. He also showed a little bit of mobility. He also ran for 400 yards and 11 touchdowns. In over 3 seasons, he's already thrown for over 11,000 yards and 147 touchdowns. And according to Greg Biggins of 24/7 Sports national recruiting analyst, he said that Smigiel is a big, strong-armed pocket passer who has put up huge numbers since his freshman season, has a tightened release with usual accuracy at all 3 levels, accurate down the field, also knows how to change speeds and throws with really nice touch, also a great natural leader, locker room guy, and teammate, and a very high football IQ. So absolute big time news right there. Michigan landing their quarterback out of the top 100 quarterback Brady Smigiel in the 2026 class, and he's already getting to work putting his recruiting hat on, which we will get to as well. But Michigan also landed another commit over the weekend on the same day, and it was the 2026 three-star edge Tariq Boney from St. John's High School in Washington, D.C. Now, this is a guy that had multiple offers, including from Georgia, Auburn, Penn State, Texas A&M, Wisconsin, and many others. He did have official visits set up with Michigan, Tulane, West Virginia, and also Cincinnati, but he ultimately chose to commit to Michigan, a 6'2", 230-pound edge. And according to E.G. Holland of the Wolverine, Boney made his decision just a couple of weeks after making his first visit to Michigan. He said that everything went well, practice was great, they were competitive, and Coach Esposito gave me a lot of coaching points, and we had a great conversation. Michigan ultimately accepted his commitment in the class, and despite being undersized for the position, Esposito was really impressed with the speed and technique he plays with, and Esposito is also has a track record of developing, recruits who are underrated, just like Tariq Boney. He also kind of plays with a similar style that Josiah Stewart plays with. Stewart, he was also an undersized edge at 6'1", 245 pounds, and we all know how Josiah Stewart did here at Michigan. So 2 commitments over the weekend for the Wolverines, obviously highlighted by Brady Smigiel, and he is already putting his recruiting cap on, recruiting others, including the 2026 4-star tight end Matt Ludwig. According to Sam Webb of the Michigan Insider, he told them that I'm already talking to him a lot, just trying to reel him in and make sure that he ends up coming to Michigan. And also, he's already started talking to the 4-star wide receiver Nayland Scott, and also the 4-star top 100 wide receiver Kelvin Russell, who was ranked 18th nationally on 24/7 Sports rankings, a 6'5" receiver. So you love to hear that. Brady Smigiel already putting his recruiting cap on. And then we also do got some more thoughts on the spring game after it was finally televised, which we'll talk about. But first, I want to go over where the Michigan football players got drafted, and also some undrafted free agents. Now, we obviously talked about Mason Graham, Colson Loveland, Kenneth Grant going in the first round, and top 13 cornerback Will Johnson, though, went in the second round, number 47 overall, to the Arizona Cardinals. Edge Josiah Stewart went in the third round, number 90 overall, to the Rams. And then also running back Kalel Mullings got drafted in the 6th round, number 188th overall, to the Tennessee Titans. And also offensive tackle Miles Hitton got drafted in the 6th round, number 191st overall, to the Philadelphia Eagles, as Michigan finished with 7 draftees. And some undrafted free agents include Donovan Edwards getting picked up by the New York Jets, and then also safety Makari Page got picked up by the New York Giants, offensive lineman Josh Preeb getting picked up by the Miami Dolphins, and the Cincinnati Bengals picking up long snapper William Wagner. So congrats to all of them. I can't wait to see what they do in the NFL. But I did want to talk about Michigan football spring game. We did make a video already last Saturday, about the spring game, as I went over my takeaways from it. But the rest of you guys who couldn't go to the game got to see it televised yesterday on Sunday. So let me know your guys' thoughts on the spring game, what you took away from it. Obviously, Michigan defense was very dominant. Defensive line was able to get pressure multiple times on the Michigan quarterbacks. And obviously, like we did say, offensive line is still a work in progress, it seems. Now, obviously, we didn't get to see, the ones play together. It was kind of just a mix of the ones and the twos and the threes, which is how spring games go. But obviously, the offensive line does still need some work. And obviously, we also saw some big games from not only running back Justice Haynes for the time that he was in there, but also the former walk-on tight end Jalen Hoffman, who was probably the MVP of the game, which we talked about as well. He was a frequent target for Bryce Underwood, and Bryce Underwood also was able to find Channing Goodwin. And while rewatching the game, Bryce Underwood had his moments. He kind of got off to a slow start, but again, he finally started to get going, get comfortable, and he did have one interception, which was a miscommunication with Channing Goodwin down the field. But most of his throws weren't terrible throws. He put the ball where only his receiver could get it most times. He also, again, probably should have had 2 touchdowns in that game. There were some 2 drop balls in the end zone, but for a true freshman who's only been on campus for a few months, he definitely looked better than most true freshmen would look in his position. So right now, obviously, does look like he has a clear edge over Jaden Davis. And then obviously we'll see if Mikey Keene can get back in the mix in fall camp. And it's really going to be interesting going into week 2 on the road against Oklahoma. And I think Michigan may have to rely some on their defense, especially early in the game. If Bryce Underwood is the starting quarterback, just getting, in a rhythm, finding a rhythm in that game early on. He might need some time throughout the game to find his rhythm, kind of like he did in the spring game a little bit. But the Michigan defense should be dominant again next season, no doubt. So let me know your guys' thoughts though. And with that, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more if you are new around here. I greatly appreciate it. And we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.